Order. This meeting is also being live streamed on YouTube. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the New Jersey Herald. It was also posted on the Sparta Township website and its bulletin board in accordance with all provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Also, no new business or testimony or applications to be heard after 9:30 p.m., and the meeting will adjourn at 10 p.m. sharp. It's the practice of this board to salute the flag. Please rise and join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Marissa, please call the roll.
Landon Teneri,
Here.
Michael Josephic,
Here.
Michael Leondi,
Here.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Here.
Jennifer Panaha,
Here.
Michael Steinberg,
Here.
Chairman Kenneth Larry,
Here.
Louis Carp.
Here.
We have one resolution to be memorialized tonight. Application 2-25, Thomas Siegmund, C variance approval decided on May 14, 2025. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Landon Teneri,
Yes.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Michael Steinberg,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. The applications to be heard tonight are the following. Application 5-25, Avtar Full. Am I pronouncing that correctly if they're in the audience? Full? Yeah. Okay. For C variance approval.
We just put on the record that,
I'm going to get to that, Lou, that other one, the first one. I just want to do the other.
thank you, I'm
first.
sorry, I don't
No
mean to
problem.
interrupt you.
Elite Truck and Tire, application 6-23 for D variance. Use variance, since storage of tires and trailers and tire recycling is not permitted use in that zone, that's why they're here tonight. And last, 15-24, Nancy Hotskins, C variance, will be carried to 6/25 meeting with further notice. Correct?
Without further notice.
I don't think it's on.
I think, was it further? Oh, it's not on?
We're not on?
Well, she had it down as further notice, right, Marissa?
Which one? Anthony Hopkins?
Hotchkins?
Yeah, it's further notice, next meeting, the June 25th meeting.
Good.
Got carried.
Okay, thank you. Yours on, David?
I gotta get the IT guy on the phone.
And also, after the applications are heard tonight, I'll open the hearing to the public for any questions and comments they may have on items not on the agenda tonight. Well, in the interim, you can come forward, Mr. Full, with your application until we get the microphones on. We'll have to wait.
Try to proceed. I don't know, but I'm gonna try calling him. Should I just step away?
Louis, can we continue without the microphones? Because it'd be tough for the recordings and so
Yeah.
forth. I don't. Just once we get the microphones on, please speak clearly and directly into the microphone, since it's a state requirement that we have a recording of all proceedings once these are operating. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And there's that, wait a minute. So, Mr. Dykstra, you're the only one here tonight, no attorney or so forth? So after you present your client's application, check.
Just use that one.
Volume over there, Marissa?
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
So again,
I just thought it'd be easier to use that one than this one, but this one is picking me up okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, after you're finished presenting your application, our board professional engineer, Mrs. Simmons, will present his report. And then our board members who have any questions and comments will go next. And after we're finished, we'll open it to the public.
Okay,
How can we help you?
thank you. I'm here, I'm a planner with
Can we-
Dykstra
Can we
Associates.
swear him
Jason
in
Dunn.
first?
Louis, if you're so
Would you like to
kind.
swear me in?
Yeah, do you swear affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this matter shall be the truth and independently of perjury?
Yes, I do.
State your name, spell your last name, and provide us with your business address.
Jason Dunn, D-U-N-N, 11 Lawrence Road, Newton, New Jersey.
And please provide us with your professional credentials.
Yes, I have presented before this board many times. My licenses are a good standing for professional planning and licensed landscape architecture. I've been doing land development and design and presentations for various boards for almost 20 years now. I'm a graduate of environmental planning and design from Rutgers University. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board? I don't think so. Okay, and the other two gentlemen too, Louis, will have to be.
I have Avatar Full, who's the owner and the applicant, and I have Peter, Califoot, I'm having some allergies tonight. Peter Califoot, who's,
Within a tractor trailer or rail car may also be referred to as cross docking. So I don't know if Mr. Oler wants to specify if he thinks that trucking terminal aligns with what his client's representing for this application.
Not necessarily.
Okay, just putting that out there. So, okay. So the history of the site, I'm curious if Mr. Stewart, the land surveyor, PE, had looked at the history of the site at all? In regards to specifically the wetlands, the transition area, and sediment infilling in the history of the site going back to the 80s?
Excuse me, Ms. Otto, I apologize.
Yep.
Could you hold those questions? I'll have to close the hearing to the public.
Okay.
I forgot to ask our board members for their comments and
Okay.
questions of the applicant and professional. So accept my apology,
Okay,
if you can just bear with that, okay?
sure.
We will reopen it. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
I got
not
it.
that we're not going to let you,
It's not me, it's you. It's fine.
Marissa, could you please call on the board members for their questions and comments?
Landon Teneri?
I have a bunch of questions, but I think it's just best to leave it to the next meeting, so I'm gonna,
all right, just understand that, well, Mr. Oler, based upon, it's already 9:15. We have 6 or 7 board members that want to ask questions. We have members of the public that are going to want to ask questions, and we have a curfew of 10 o'clock at this board. I think, will you agree now that you're going to bring your board member, your professionals back? Because we're never going,
Yeah, I don't see us reaching everyone who has questions, so everyone will be back. I've checked with Mr. Stewart. We're not good for the June date. We two are good for the July date, but I have to check with the folks behind me yet.
right, and
thank you.
just so we get it on the record before we all.
Well, whatever, my point of that is, it might be harder to say the July date's okay, because
Right.
I need to know that they're okay with
No,
it.
I just want you to consent to extending the time
Yeah,
for a
we'll extend
decision.
to whatever we need to extend to. Yes.
Thank you.
Was that the 8th or the 9th?
9th.
9th, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll continue with the board members, Louis?
You might as well continue with the board members,
It'd
see
be
how far
helpful
we
if we
get.
heard your questions
yeah,
or
no, I
comments so
didn't
that
mean
we
to
could
spark that.
prepare
It's only
yeah.
because, some of it was about the traffic concerns, and I know at this point you're not prepared to answer those
Right.
questions. So, beyond that, I do want to ask a little bit about where the tire is coming from. Is there like a particular location that you guys currently serve? Is Sussex County a new location you're looking to expand into? And if so, what's the context of having, the Jersey City facility and then your location in Pennsylvania? How does this location now proposed in Sussex County now kind of fit into all of that? I still kind of don't understand.
It's probably best if I just have them answer the question. I thought the
course.
testimony was like they serve the area now and they're traveling back and forth to Jersey City and there's more here. They listed a bunch of car dealerships, there's many in Newton and, other places. So, they pick up all those tires on a daily basis and this would be an easier, more central location to this general area, right? So,
All right, then just
Yeah.
kind of a separate question on the topic, and any concerns with the C1 stream and pollution in the context of when you remove tires from one trailer and place it into another? And I know that that's a brief period of time that these tires are going to be in open airs, but these tires are going to be in open air in Sparta Township. So I was just wondering if there are any concerns or mitigation methods that the company would take to limit pollution.
So I would defer a little, I think, on that to Fred, but, what we heard was, the box truck comes back to the site, they take the tire out of the one truck and they put it in the other. I don't know that there's a concern with that, anything, that's part of their DEP certification as to how they are handled and what they do. Again, I can have our client come up and give you a better answer, but that's kind of what I heard in the testimony, right? But again, if the board felt like, hey, can you put some kind of, some landscape along the bottom that if there was a runaway tire or something that, it would catch it, I don't know, whatever you're thinking, we could certainly, be willing to talk about doing something that would address any concern.
That's my questions for now. Thank you.
Excuse me, young lady in the audience, you said the meeting wasn't being live streamed?
I fixed it.
Oh, you fixed it? Oh, yeah, we
Fixed
just
it.
noticed.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
some guy got disconnected, so I got it back on.
All right,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Go ahead, Marissa.
I'm sorry. Michael Josephic.
Yeah, I have a few questions here. So one, I understand it's 8-foot fence. I just, as David requested, would like some clarification as to the type of fence and how, it'll screen what's behind the fence. Then I also heard some testimony tonight saying how the height of the fence and the fence was necessary for security. I'm interested to understand how it provides security if it's not fully enclosing the property. So it seems like it's just a line of fence just to screen, so I don't know where the security aspect comes from. So I don't know if you want to answer that or you want to park that for next time. I also do have some questions. There are going to be forklifts on the property? If so, how many forklifts? What fuels the forklifts? Is it propane? Are there going to be propane cylinders on the property besides the one main propane tank that we talked about?
Yeah, the one we talked about was to heat the house,
Okay.
the building.
But are there going to be other propane tanks?
No, there's not.
So when the forklift runs out of gas, how does that work? No forklifts. So they hand pick every tire out and move it onto the truck. Wow, pretty archaic, but okay. Anyway, so then, I also heard some unclear testimony about the amount of trucks on the property at a time. I guess to really sum it up, how many trucks will there be at the maximum amount of trucks on the property at one time?
Well, right now, they're running 3. I'm sorry, 5. There's 3 box trucks and 2 trailers.
And overnight, there would be how many on the property?
Those 3 and the 2, again, either daily or every other day, one of the trailers leaves the site to transport the tires to the actual recycling center that, the place would actually recycle them. So that trailer may not come back until the next day.
All right. Another question I have, and I was looking at the plans and then also the photographs. Looks like there is a telephone pole or a power line pole that brings an overhead wire across the parking lot, and it looks like it goes to the actual house. I guess that's how the building itself is powered, and I think on the plans here, it shows overhead wires. Are they sufficient in height to allow tractor trailers to proceed under with no issue?
Yes, they are.
They are, okay. Alright. And then, all right, that's all I have right now.
Michael Leondi?
Hey, guys, I just wanted to clarify, we heard some testimony from Mr. Flynn, I believe, about the site being located in close proximity to Route 15 and trucks not required to go through any kind of residential neighborhoods. Our professionals touched on this, the police department's letter touched on it, but it's very clearly a right-in, right-out site only. So in fact, every vehicle leaving this site does have to go through not only residential neighborhoods, but to the center of town, and that is not a destination, I think, for any of this activity. I think pretty much all traffic coming out of this parcel will want to go onto Route 15, either north or south. So effectively, downtown Sparta is becoming a turnaround for these vehicles. And when the traffic engineer does come back, I think it's really important that we speak to that.
Please hold your applause in the audience. Thank you.
That's all I have for now.
Richard Rohrbacher?
My questions concern dealing with the tractor trailers and the size of the property and how the vehicles would maneuver around, considering their size and the turning radiuses that they need to handle leaving the property. And generally, tying in with the previous questions about handling traffic to go north and south on Route 15, because there is the large concrete barriers that are restricting the ability to go southbound. And how would they get to the northbound side of 15? It sounds like they have to go through town, and I don't think that's what the town wants. There's enough traffic and congestion already. We don't need to add large tractor trailers to that, even one trip a day or every other day. We don't need to add that to the congestion that we have. That's my only question at this time, is how do we handle all that?
We'll address that with our traffic expert.
Okay, that's fine. We'll wait and reserve further questions
No, it's
until
helpful
then.
having your comments so that we'll be ready.
Thank you.
Jennifer Panaha?
I think you've both addressed, but my concerns were, my comments would be just be prepared to describe how you're going to pull out, because if you're going, every time you have to leave, you will traverse through town. And as I'm thinking about it, the natural way would be you'd have to go all the way through town around a jug handle, and then you'd have to make a left at that light. And that light is super tight. I don't think I've ever seen an 18-wheeler make a left back up Woodport Road. So you'd probably have to traverse all the way to the other entrance to Route 15 somewhere in town. So just take a look at that. And I would encourage you to also address the entrance to the site, because if you're pulling an 18-wheeler into that site, the way you've got your, the way you've got that impervious coverage there set up, it's probably going to be a slow entrance to it because you're going to have to maneuver around quite a bit. And if I would encourage you to look at how the traffic comes off of Route 15 because it's school time and rush hour time. It's a lot of speeding and there's 2 lanes coming around that bend and a lot of people are making a hard left and it causes people to kind of twist to the right quick, and all of that buffering space is your friend until you realize what a blind spot it is for people. So I would just encourage you to know that that might be a source of conflict. So that's all I've got.
Michael Steinberg?
Well, the good news is most of my colleagues took most of my questions already, so we got that out of the way. So between transference of goods and whether there was going to be forklifts, maneuverability concerns, where the pickups are coming from and where they're going to. I guess my only remaining question at this juncture in the game has to do around the fence itself on here. I know we've talked about a variety of different things on there, but are there going to be any added features on the fence, such as razor wire, barbed wire, like on top from a security standpoint? That's really the only remaining question I had.
Pretty safe in saying there's no razor wire.
That's it.
Chairman Kenneth Larry?
Thank you. And Mr. Oler, could you possibly bring to the next meeting sample swatches of this material that you're talking about for this fence?
Oh, sure,
Would-
I can
yeah,
do that.
Good?
Okay.
Basically, as far as the fence goes, it is a fence.
Right.
The black corrugated material that's on there is not like a, flimsy shed roof type of material. It's meant to be a fence. It's corrugated, it's made that way, so it's rigid. It's manufactured to be a fence. I do have the detail on the sheet, but I can also provide a photo of it. I'll get that and have that for the next meeting, so you can see exactly what it is. It's a very sturdy fence. It's nothing flimsy about it, and it's meant to do exactly what this is proposing.
All right, thank you. Mr. Oler, would you want to go over the Environmental Commission report at this juncture so we can get that out of the way? I think you have that, hopefully.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. So, they're they're questioning or looking for some information regarding lighting, hours of operation. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, again, regarding lighting, which I think we covered, hours of operation we covered. Verify lights will not be on all the time. I think we verified that. Commission was requesting 3,000 Kelvin or less, which is a pretty low level light. It's kind of like a yellow light, right? But we can accommodate that as well. I don't know, they seem to have some concerns about pest breeding. I don't know where that would come from. It's a developed site already. We're not really changing much on the site. High fire hazard, I guess that's an opinion. We're not, I will be sure to ask him next time we were here as to number of fires that they've had and how long, they've been in this operation, right? And we'll address it that way. And again, all these other issues about air, water, microplastics and stuff, again, that's why it's a regulated business. It's a, it's a DEP regulated business. They're inspected annually, and that's why, right? So they're licensed to do exactly what they're doing. And then they have many other engineering problems, which I suppose Dave you know, I would think you can rely on your engineer rather than that statement.
I think the only last question was the delineation map wasn't included. The Environmental Commission said the last one was conducted on August 22nd, 2024. It's the last
At
page,
the end,
I think.
yeah. Yep, that's Fred.
The delineation is actually reflected on the existing conditions plan and the second sheet as well. That's where it's, and that was provided with the proper notation of who completed it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board at this time? I'll open it again to the public, and please keep in mind, it's 9:30. Keep your questions and comments, hopefully 5 to 10 minutes, because I assume everyone will be back at the next meeting. Of course, I am very adamant, as everyone knows, to adjourning at 10 PM sharp. Go ahead, Mr. Otto.
All right, Rob Otto again, private citizen. So want to just go through the ED zone description. So in E, prohibited uses, specifically prohibited, we have trucking terminals, which Mr. Oler has declined, I think, to confirm that that's what this business is. But I read that description out before. There's also outdoor storage. But in addition, number 2, there's any uses which directly or indirectly utilize materials listed in NJAC 7:1E Appendix A, including petroleum products that are regulated but do not appear in Appendix A, shall be expressly prohibited. So I just want to make a note about that. I'll try to just go through this quickly so that, other people can speak. J, required impact studies. It sounds, there was somewhat of an environmental impact study, but there wasn't anything on the history of the site. I kind of touched on that. Soil erosion, preservation of trees, protection of water courses and resources. I think the engineer talked about the importance of that. Traffic impact study, it sounds like something came in. I wanted to point out that for traffic, my understanding is there was a phase 2 4-year study by local Sparta PD. And again, I don't have a copy of this, whatever you guys received today, but it analyzed 2,150 crashes in phase 2. And of those, there were the top 10 roadways for crashes within Sparta, and Woodport Road 181 made that list top 10 with 114 crashes. So I just want to note that. So I don't know if that's going to factor into the traffic impact study, but it sounds like your traffic expert's going to be coming. Then community impact statement is a requirement also of the ED zone. I don't know if that was provided. And then I just want to point out, I looked at NJAC 7:1E-1.7, including substances like rubber along with petroleum products as hazardous substances. So just, again, a reminder that we're not just talking about this use that's presumed prohibited because it's not listed in the ED zone. And we're not necessarily just talking about Medici or Sika, which I would question whether there's an inherent good being provided by this. But I don't need to, I guess, make that comment. But I just want to bring up that it sounds like there is a question about NJDEP regulation of this business. And so I am curious, your planner brought it up. I do see it listed in here. It is heavily regulated. And in fact, I have a copy of NJAC 7:26A-1 at which says tire retreaders, but anyway, it says tires shall only be stored in totally enclosed structures or in roll-off containers or trailers dedicated to scrap tire storage. Tires are transferred to an end market or to a recycling center approved to receive, store, process, or transfer scrap tires, or to a tire facility herein exempted. Recycling operations in which scrap tires are received, stored, and processed must be approved, etc. So it sounds like we're on the same track. We want to find out a little bit more about that. Then further in what I just quoted, which was NJAC 7:26A-1, there is a section which says 3, such persons shall also meet the following criteria. Materials shall be stored in a manner which prevents runoff, leakage, or seepage from the storage area into or onto the ground surface along storage area, and shall be stored in accordance with all applicable county and municipal laws and regulations. And I wanted to touch on that, and that's kind of why I'd asked about the environmental impact statement that was brought up earlier, because this site has a long history of as a contamination source for the C1 streams behind it. So I know that those, I think the engineer called, oh no, it was Mr. Oler said, quote, "There's nothing behind this building." I would say there's something, and it's transition areas and wetlands. So 2 category 1 streams. I also want to bring it back to something I had started off with, which was again, that this is a D variant. So it will be tied to this land in perpetuity. You guys all know that better than me, right? But we hope that any business succeeds in Sparta. If this business does not succeed, what guarantee do we have that the next business would then utilize this D variance and do it in a controlled manner, in the way that I think you guys would try to control this? So just keep that in mind, the decision that you're making. You know that. Then there was a discussion, I think the engineer had identified some sheet flow conditions and some signs of erosion, which is not surprising. We've had a lot of rainfall, but again, the stream is behind. And then going to the history of the site, just because it's well documented. Soil disturbance. So that's the other thing. I don't know if the engineer looked at, or the the PE for the applicant looked at this, but there was significant soil disturbance. In fact, several violations in the past, stream encroachment to one of the streams is identified as a tributary to Lake Saginaw. So I would urge you to look at that. They were issued stop work orders. This matters simply because, as you're talking about, the engineer's suggestions to repair asphalt completely versus patching it, and to establish any kind of sheet flow controls. We want to make sure that, if there is sheet flow on the site, that it doesn't carry potentially contaminated sediment, because there's identified artificial fill from that site dating back to the 80s. And this is, cataloged with the Township of Sparta, significantly stream encroachment, as well as with the NJDEP. And then there was also some historic sewage spills on the site, again, behind the property. The reason that this might matter is because you're going to have a lot of sheet flow off that site, I suspect.
And Ms. Otto, excuse me, you have excellent questions and comments.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through quick.
Would you be able to conclude them? I just wanted
Yeah.
potentially get another person or two.
No, I'm
before
not,
we
and,
adjourn.
and we're aligned in that. I'm trying to wrap it up and just make sure I didn't miss anything
Thank you.
not crucial, but, So yeah, again, that the sloping, sloping down conditions behind the site are concerning. And then I did want to read something just from Sparta's own, if I can. See if I can find it.
Ms. Otto, maybe you could save that for the next time?
Well, it's right here. Recycling guide for Sparta Township businesses, institutions, and industries. And in there, it says facilities that collect scrap tires should be aware of proper storage requirements due to the public health risk associated with improper storage. Scrap tires can collect rainwater and become an ideal breeding ground for mosquitoes, carriers of West Nile virus. Therefore, state regulations specify that scrap tires shall be stored in totally enclosed structures or in roll-off containers or trailers dedicated to scrap tire storage. You're required to properly recycle your tires. So Mr. Oler no doubt would say, I heard him say that there was some opinions about pests and, stuff related to tires. But I just want to point out that even Sparta recognizes that it's a concern. And I will yield, I guess.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Mr.
I
Otto. Thank you.
tried to
Thank
throw a
you.
lot of stuff out there.
And what time's the makeup then? 43.
43.
All right, we have about 15 minutes left. Young lady, you can give your name and address to the secretary.
Wait, you have to swear her in.
Swear in, Lou.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this matter shall be the truth under penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your name, and provide us with your address.
Kathy Ebbinkhausen, Ebbinkhuysen, Sparta.
And excuse me, Kathy, just be aware, we just have about 15 minutes. If you can be a little bit concise, maybe one other person could.
I will do my best.
All right, thank you.
All right, and some of these may be redundant, so I'll go pretty quickly. I took some notes and added some questions as the testimony was occurring. First question is, what is the stated use of this application? I've heard a lot of things being thrown around here tonight. Trucking terminals, maybe warehousing, I don't know. I'd like to hear from the applicant what their stated use for this application is.
I can bring them back up and say it again if you like, Mr. Chairman,
You're
but
so kind, Mr. Oler.
sure. One of you wants to. Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking is, I'm assuming on the application, there has to be a line that says stated use. I'm not looking for a description of the operations. I'm asking on the application, what is it indicated as?
Picking up scrap tires and transporting out the site.
Okay. Does that fit on what this site is on the application? Moving on, what zone is this application intended in?
ED zone.
Thank you. Chairman Lowry, can you reiterate why a D variance is needed? You had stated earlier.
Well, that's pretty simple there. It's the storage of tires, trailers, and tire recycling is not a permitted use in that zone.
Thank
That's
you.
why they're requesting the D1 use variance.
Okay, and you answered my next question. It's a D1. I believe I heard during the testimony that a C variance is also being sought. Is that correct?
C variance is because they're not meeting all the setback requirements, among other things. That's what we call a bulk variance.
Okay, are both variances able to be considered simultaneously by this board
Yes,
and approved simultaneously should that occur?
yes.
Thank you. During the testimony, I believe I heard the planner state no, quote, no third-party goods. Is that correct?
Referring to their planner.
Correct.
No third-party goods?
Mhm.
Did we say no third-party goods? Why don't you come back up?
Want to come up to the microphone, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I meant by that is this isn't an applicant that is taking goods from a retailer and then resupplying them elsewhere to a wholesaler or something like that.
Okay. So these tires are not belonging to them, right? They're being grabbed, purchased, removed from other sites? Is that correct? Yeah? Wouldn't that make them third-party goods? Because they are not in the, they don't, this business doesn't own the tires.
Well, I believe
I don't know if they purchase the tires or if it's a service that they just, kind of pick them up because for example, the car dealerships are only too happy to get rid of their
Please use the
used tires.
microphone.
So we can ask them that now or next time, whatever your preference is.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to establish ownership of these tires?
I don't know how it's relevant. I mean, there's tires that are being picked up in a box truck that are then being transported into a trailer that is then being taken off-site. I don't know how it
Well, if this-
matters who owns the
If this
tire.
business doesn't take ownership of it, then they can say, not my problem when something goes wrong, right? That's the reason for the
No, they
question.
are a regulated business, regulated by the DEP.
My question is who owns the tires?
So you want me to bring him back up
You
to
can ask
answer?
them, Ms. Oler.
Sure, I don't know the answer, so why don't I bring him back up again? Thank you. So Angel, when you pick up the used tires at places, do you pay for them?
Yeah, so just as how you would go to a local tire shop, you pay to get rid of them, the tire shops pay us to get rid of them as well. So it's a big chain.
Do you pay the tire shops?
No, it's a service we provide.
Right.
The tire shops call us.
And they pay you to pick up
Yeah,
the
they pay
tires?
us.
And when you pick them up, do you take ownership of the tires?
There's probably no bill of sale, right? I mean, right. Hard to say they own the tires. They're picking them up and doing a public
Maybe you
service.
could find out, Ms. Nola, for the next meeting, if there is any type of ownership, so we can clear it up if you're so kind.
Thank you. I heard the material of the proposed 8-foot fence being discussed as black sheets, then black corrugated fence. The actual material itself, is it plastic, metal? Can you,
The engineer said that he would bring samples next time, so we'll have more information at the next meeting.
okay. The reason I ask is because we've established this application is in the ED zone. As far as I understand, the ED zone requires the aesthetic of a campus-like setting. So I want to recall that for the board, because if this material is not campus-like, I don't think it should be permitted. And the ordinance doesn't either. Can you describe how the tires will be transferred from one vehicle to the other? I believe that was already answered. I believe what I heard was by hand, removed from one box truck and moved to a trailer. Is that correct?
That's right. So we back the box truck into the trailer and then they're offloaded by hand.
Okay. How long would you say it takes to fill a trailer full of box trucks?
About 3 hours.
Tires. They're filling tires, not.
Tires, excuse me. Well, what I meant to say was how long does it take to fill one of those trailers full of tires? How many rounds of box trucks do you need to fill a trailer?
Exactly 3.
Exactly 3. And that 3 occurs during the course of one day?
That's right. And depends of how many tires we pick up. Sometimes only 2 trucks go out. So we may not fill up all 3 the entire day.
Okay, and if that's the case, for consideration of the board, we're not allowing storage of tires on this site. However, if that trailer is not removed within the day, technically you are having storage of tires on the site if you have to wait for that trailer to be filled. So for consideration of the board, tire storage. I believe Mr. Otto covered all the ED zone, other stuff that I had. I'll move on to some additional questions. I believe for a D variance, there are special reasons, which is a legal term, and I think it was referred to previously. What special reasons are being indicated for this D variance?
Mr. Flynn stated that in his testimony. Mr. Flynn went through all of the special reasons.
Okay. How is this property particularly suited, though, for this proposed use?
Mr. Flynn stated that in his testimony.
Okay. So what are you asserting is serving the general welfare of this community, for this application? With your operation?
Again, Mr. Flynn identified several purposes of zoning that this application would satisfy.
That wasn't my question, Mr. Oler.
Well, then, can you repeat your question?
My question is, what are you asserting is serving the general welfare of this community with this business operation?
Right, and Mr. Flynn testified that the recycling, and I hate to put words in his mouth, I can have him come and re-say it again, but essentially he was saying that this is the front end of the recycling process, and that serves the general community as a whole, and the general welfare.
And
But I
that
can have him come
benefits
up
the
and
community of
restate it.
Sparta, you mean?
Well,
In
some
what
of the
way?
tires are picked up in Sparta, for sure, and they serve the general public, and then they're, the end product is used in high school tracks and in, other recycled materials that come from tires, and they end up all over the place.
Sure, I understand what you're saying. I believe I understand what you're saying in general, but I'm asking how it serves the general welfare of this community because this application is here in Sparta in this community. So your answer is general and meaning it doesn't serve
No,
our community.
It does serve, it serves the community, it serves the state of New Jersey, it serves Sparta. Again, some of the tires that they pick up are all local to Sparta and Sussex County, and beyond, frankly, because, they do have other sites as well. So it's a use that serves the public.
All right, excuse me, Kathy,
I have two left.
because I still have to open it to the public that have questions on items not on the agenda tonight. And we only have a few minutes left. If you can speed it up or save them for the next meeting?
Okay, so I will end
I
with.
assume you'll be back, so we can cover it at that point.
I will end with reading an email then, if I can find the email. Okay. One thing I want to point out to the board is in my search for your emails this evening, on the website, there was no place to find your emails. Okay, so I'd like to ask the board if that could be rectified on the website because
What do you think about that,
What emails are you referring to?
board members?
the board members.
The board members' emails are not, I don't think are put on publicly. You have the right to make an Oprah request for, and the clerk will make a determination whether it's operable or not. If you're referring to the police report, you're not, okay. Then I don't know what emails you're referring to.
So let me give some more additional context. The reason I'm asking is because I have friends and neighbors who wanted to be here tonight and could not be and wanted to have their words brought to the board. They would like to have submitted those comments to the board members prior to this meeting.
No, I'm sorry, the board can only accept live testimony here. Anything written, petitions, anything you bring in is not evidence that can't be submitted to the board. As far as notice of the meeting, under the municipal land use law, the applicant is required to send out notices, mail notices by certified mail return receipt, certified mail to anyone that owns a property within 200 feet of this property. They're also obligated to,
Okay, thank you. That wasn't my question though. And I'm out of time.
Excuse me, Kathy?
Yes.
We have to adjourn in 3 minutes. Everyone knows I'm adamant about it. We're volunteers, but please, please come back for July 9th. And anything you need and information on meetings, it's usually posted on the bulletin board and the website and the agenda. And Marissa can certainly say when the meeting is and what's going to be on it and et cetera. So, all right, I appreciate it, but make sure you come back for July 9th. It's now closed the hearing to any questions. That was,
all right, the matter is being adjourned now
for this hearing.
for this hearing. There's going to be, it's being continued on July 9th at 7:00 PM here. There will be no further notice, and, or publication. So if you want to come back, July 9th is the day.
And then please, was there,
That's not right.
that's the format here. And there was no questions about items not on the agenda tonight, I would assume, correct? Well, maybe, could you save them for the next one, Joan? Because we only have 3 minutes.
No, this is, I'm not going to ask any questions regarding the application. I just wanted to, I scoured, Joan Furman, West Shore Trail. I scoured the website looking for documentation, and looking for the application. Can't find it. If you go to planning board or town council, we'll have.
I spoke with Dory about that. She did it when she started here, she did a Gmail account and started posting for the planning board. But her and I are definitely going to be setting that up for the zoning board so I can start putting these kind of applications on there for everybody
Right,
to
so
have
that the
access.
public can see it. I just wanted to maybe before
Yeah.
the next meeting so we could get access to the documentation.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah, she's just, we have to just set it up.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just one other quick thing. Now I'm speaking as planning board chair. I just want to address something Mr. Aller said earlier.
But Joan,
No,
I
that's
hate-
not for
Really?
tonight.
No, no,
That's
it's not this, but,
No, but I mean, you know the way I am with adjourning at 10 PM. That clock is slow, right? What's the real time, Michael?
58.
58. Can you do it in 2 minutes or not?
I can do it in 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
As you know, he's our conflict counsel, and the planning board certainly knows that he represents many clients. I don't recall him saying that this particular application, Elite, was known to the planning board. If you did, I'm sorry. But I just want to make it clear that the planning board has no association with this application. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Joan. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Chairman Lowry, just because for the sake of efficiency going forward, I'd like to make a motion that we would limit public comment to 5 minutes to be consistent with the town council. And I'm not sure if the planning board has a similar thing, but I didn't feel like I could ask enough questions. I didn't have enough of the public ask questions. I want to be even, give everyone a fair chance.
But
This
a lot of
wasn't right,
times,
so.
Landon will do that. As you know, at town council, they'll go 5 minutes, but they'll go to 10 minutes, 15. They still have to be questioned to stick to the time limit, but they don't. We could do that as an official,
I don't think we have time to debate
limit
it
that,
right
but
now.
we'll try that, okay? But let's take an adjournment now for this
All right.
meeting.
I just think it's something that could be considered.
All right, sure. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, please. All in favor?
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you for everyone for coming. Thank you, Mike.
Everybody an open book to talk